I wanted to try playing a few games against the computer here. I noticed that Chess Explained had done this, and it looked interesting. And I've selected level 4. I played a few games at this level, and I should be able to beat it. It comes on immediately with the move. And let's see, as my clock has not yet started ticking, I can talk a little bit. Yeah, it estimates level 4 is 1600. And at this level, it makes some pretty horrible blunders. But I've also lost some games at this level because it always moves instantly. So maybe I was thinking this would be an opportunity to practice taking my time and looking for my opponent's mistakes, even though he's blasting out instant moves every time. Because I do seem to get distracted by that style of play. And of course, it also plays oddball openings. Let's go with d5 here. Yeah, so going with some quiet setup. Looks like I can play e5 as well. So yeah, so white is wasting a tempo. That is probably why, one of the reasons why it's not very good. But I've seen it also just completely blunder a piece. And what's surprising is that it still will sometimes beat me. At least surprising to me. So if he takes this pawn, it's defended, I can take back. This pawn is, d pawn is actually a little under defended. After the exchange, the queen and the knight are attacking that pawn. So why don't I take first and see? Yeah, so he takes with a pawn, so now my d pawn is sheltered. I can bring my knight out. And so this is a lot like, let's see, an exchange French, where white has wasted a move, playing first d3 and then d4. But, well, it's nothing too horrible. But, well, you see what I mean about the instant moves. And they're not good moves either, right? There's no way that white is justified in playing both h3 and a3. Just can't be right. Okay, but what can I do about it? Let's see, I could bring this knight over to the king side and push the c-pawn forward to try and weaken the center a little bit. I could try and attack this bishop directly. It is pinned. And I've already got one piece on it. So this actually threatens to win a pawn. So he defends. Now if I take, then he has to take back with a pawn. He can't take with a queen. So I was able to create a weakness there. Now, to get the light squared bishop into the game, it might be nice to play bishop to f5. So I could play g6 first. Let's see. He could play g4, however, and just stop that idea. So let's just bring the bishop out here and then play. I played g4 anyway. Okay, so yeah, this is very much like some blitz players play. So my knight can go forward to this square if he pushes. Not so easily. Let's play h6 and see. Try and hold up the pawn push to g5. And let's see, he still hasn't committed to castling here. Maybe this arrangement with the rook, with the queen behind the rook. Okay, he can take my knight. I can take his knight. He's not hitting a pawn, okay. My idea was to line up like this and then drop the bishop back. Everything is still defended, right? If I bring the bishop back, it defends the b7 pawn. The knight and the queen are coordinating on c6, but I have the queen defending. So we just drop back. Okay, so my idea here is just to take the pawn. And then he can, maybe he can grab the d-pawn. Let's see, but he actually can't grab the d-pawn, can he? So you see how much the difference in time is. White's time just goes up and my time keeps going down. So now I can play knight here. Let's shore up the center first. Knight here. And he takes. So let's pile up pressure. Pile up pressure on that D pawn. Am I a pawn up? Yeah, I'm a pawn up here, so I've done well so far, I guess. Let's triple. And he's got 2 defenders, so let's make it 3 attackers and 2 defenders. So he's giving up the pawn. This is another thing that seems a bit mysterious. You make an obvious threat, and often at this level the program just won't respond. But sometimes it plays like a genius too. You make one mistake, it gets a lead, and then it goes on to crush you. So there's just no telling. And even from a position like this, it's dangerous. Okay, so let's get my bishop active. He wants to trade rooks. I have same-colored bishops, so going into an endgame where I'm a pawn up with same-colored bishops should be good for me. So I'm going to go for a passed pawn here on the king side. And let's see, now I can push forward. There we go. Just didn't want to give up anything on the queen side while I was pushing the king side forward. Okay, so now I've got this protected passed pawn, and I've got this pawn fixed on a light square. So let's take here. And yeah, so that's another mysterious move. I mean, why would he why wouldn't he just take that pawn? Okay, and so let's pile up on this pawn, bring my king over to the other side. So my bishop is looking at this pawn, and he hasn't defended it. See, I mean, it's easy to just completely miss that he's not bothering to defend when he's moving so quickly, and you have to stop and look at the board each time. Okay, so we gave up the bishop, and it looks like I'll finally be able to win this game. And I think I should be able to move without thinking too much. Just have to check. I've also ended up in some stalemates as well. Okay, so queen here to keep the king confined, then here, and then here. And now the king is marching back and forth along this line. I'll just bring the king in and checkmate with the queen and king. Like that. Okay, so that was a win, and kind of typical computer play. Let's go back and see what happens if I raise it up a level. So I'm going to go to level 5 and see if I can still play okay at this level. I went with knight c3 again. I chose a random opening side. He played d4 this time. Let's go with e6. Stop that pawn from coming forward. Usually this knight c3 move. Yeah, I don't know. I probably it's not right to play knight c6 in response to knight c3. I was really thinking he was playing knight f3 and I was playing knight f6, thinking he was going for an English opening. I just had my sides of the board reversed. Okay, but this shouldn't be too bad. Let's go for another normal kind of setup. Let's take. I don't want him clamping down on the center, getting a big central clamp. Let's develop another piece here. Okay, his d-pawn is defended. Let's castle. And now I need to develop my light squared bishop. I think I can develop it on this diagonal, so let's go for a fianchetto here. And let's look at this. So his light squared bishop could be harassed by knight to b5. Can drop back. I can play h6 here to keep a knight from coming into g5 and keep a bishop from coming to g5. That looks like a plan. Or I could play to undermine the center. Well, moving the knight and forcing him to move the bishop. And maybe I should have prepared it with rook c8 first. But anyway, this was the idea I had. I'm not bothering to stop him from playing a piece to g5, but I wanted to get in this move to undermine his center. So he kicks my knight. So if I drop my knight back, he takes, I can take with the bishop. If he pushes, I can take with the pawn. And it's defended by the my bishop. So I think I can just drop my knight back here and take. So he's letting me have a pawn. Maybe he's getting some tactic on the d file. And what's going on here? The knight can come into f5. That looks like that might be dangerous. I can move my knight. I can play knight to well, that's not a good square, because when he takes with the pawn, it hits my knight. Sometimes, you know, can use that snapback tactic, use the knight to take back. But that's not a good square. I could go here. If knight takes, I can still take the bishop. Because the queen is on that as well. So he gets knight to f5 anyway, but in this position, where is he going? I've got this covered. He's going to d6, I guess. Let's put a rook on d6. And he kicks my queen. Let's go queen to f6. I want to play g5 here and just push that, g6 here and push that knight back. And he does not want to be pushed back. Okay, so he's supported there. Now what can I do? I can let me try to put some pressure on his bishop there. The bishop is on the light squares, so I have to be a little careful. If I come into a dark square here, the queen's covering that. Come in here. If he moves the bishop, I can actually take the rook. Now I can't. Now I can't. So let's drop back with the queen. Okay, let's look. Okay, he's offering to trade the bishop. Let's go ahead and do that. Didn't. He did not trade. Okay, so when I take here, his queen and his his queen and his rook are looking at this pawn. And so yeah, he's got something clever going on here. So I want to chase the knight away, but then I lose control of the I lose control of this square. So I have to keep my queen in touch with the rook. I have to keep the rook defending this pawn, but I can bring the knight in. Knight here to here. I have to be careful. Knight here, there to here, or knight here, there. Where can I get that knight to? Here. I mean, I could have grabbed a pawn. Oh, he thinks this is working? Oh, that's a mate. Okay, so Stockfish level 5 is pretty clever. So let's go back and let's try again. See if I can defeat level 5 or if this is my limit. One more game. Okay, knight c3 again. Why is he having white every time? I select random. Okay, let's go knight f6. That's what I intended to play. And then let's go d5. See how he wants to deal with that. Okay. Let's play h6 and bishop to f5. So this is a good diagonal for the bishop in many cases. And he's looking at my c-pawn, which can be defended by knight to a6. I'm not too worried about that at the moment. I have a fork here, so I place my knight here, threaten that fork. Okay, he stopped it. So let's just play d6, and okay, I have to defend with the rook now. Aha! So if I defend with the rook, Yeah, if I defend with the rook, he can take over here. So let's move, and then he can play there with the check. Or we can go in with the queen, okay? Now I have to trade. And now he can stop me from castling for a long time, it looks like. So let's push the pawn forward. Yeah, so I've been moving too fast. Once again, I've fallen into that trap of moving too quickly just because my opponent is. Okay, now I can castle. So what's the damage? The pawns are even. The material is even. He's just got the bishop pair. So I survived all of that, but clearly that was not best play. Okay, so if I take here, it takes with the rook. And that gave me a square. That gave me a square for my knight. I can kick his rook. B4. And bring this knight into the game, bring a rook into the game. How should I play this? Maybe a rook to the center here. Or to the e file. Maybe I should push the e file forward. The e pawn forward. Okay, so time to be a little bit careful. If I just let him take and I take back with the knight, he has a built-in, an automatic pin there. So let's step aside so that I'm not pinned if he takes. Let's put a rook behind it. And I can't push on, so let's just exchange. Another one of those funny moves. Okay, so let's take again. So he's just seemingly giving up pawns for no reason. And then maybe I'll have some clever way to get some play in this position. Okay, his king still has not done anything like castle. Is there a way to coordinate multiple knights on that square? His bishop is defending the f2 square. So I'm not sure. Let's try pushing the e pawn forward, see if I can bust up his center a little bit. Takes. So taking with the knight, I guess, or the bishop. Let's take with the knight. And then I can take off this bishop. That'll be good. Ah, okay, took with the queen and continued to defend f2. Let's see, he's looking at my king side here, but his king is not castled. So is there a way to pile up on the king? Okay, he traded that time. And he played e4. So if knight takes e4, it hits the queen. Do I have a check? The check is covered by the knight. Let's go with knight takes e4. So let's see if I can get to a dark square somehow. Okay, defend here. And, you know, I don't have those checks that I want to have. Somehow, not yet, he's not yet falling apart here, like he should. So there's a check here, I guess. See how he wants to defend that. And then I could put a rook here to set up a discovered check. And he doesn't do anything about it. So let's go knight here. Knight here or knight here? Oh, the king can take it there. So knight here Discovered check. Okay, so he gives up to queen. So I guess I can beat it at this level if I don't screw up here. I'm about to be mated, but let's see. How's the best way to escape? His bishop is on a light square. That's why I was a little hesitant about how to play this. There's some little tricks where you can play a check with the bishop and drive my big king to an awkward square. Okay, let's just block with the knight here, and let's see if we can activate my bishop. Speaking of bishops, okay, he goes there to look at the knight, and this was my idea, was to place the bishop here. So anyway, he traded that off. I will give that up. He didn't even take the pawn. I was going to say it's worth a pawn, isn't it, to get that. So I'll go here with check. I'll go here with check. And take that. And let's just save my bishop here. And let's see, I could start moving this pawn forward maybe. Okay, he got a check in. And check. So check. I have to move quickly here. Look at that. I'm about to lose on time. There, I got him. Okay, well, anyway, I guess that's enough for this episode. I don't want to keep going and lose some more. So I did manage a win against level 5, which was their estimate 1700. And you can see it plays some horrible moves, but you also see that it found a nice checkmate in the previous game. So, you know, one little slip and you're in big trouble. So the best use for this is if you're trying to learn how to pace yourself and try and complete a game within your allotted time without you know, following your opponent's pace, but trying to give enough time to each move to find those to find the good moves. And maybe it's a useful way to practice that. Anyway, see you guys later. Bye.